So, good day, ma'am. I'm from RLE2 and this is our video output for nursing as a profession. Today I'm here with, please introduce yourself.
Good day. My name is Hami Tatle. I am a Xavier University nursing alumni. I graduated last March 2019 and I took my boards in June, so I've been a nurse since June 2019. And now I work as a company nurse.
Okay, thank you. So we'll start with our interview question proper. So first question is, why did you choose nursing?
So originally, I chose nursing for my pre-med because originally I planned to become a doctor. And then I chose Xavier University when I was in like fourth year. I was thinking of going into nursing at Xavier because they had a good track record, 100% passing rates of board exams.
Okay, thank you for sharing your experience. So aside from, since you're a company nurse, so you haven't been inside the, you worked as a nurse in the hospital?
No, I haven't experienced working in a hospital aside from my as a SN, as a student nurse. So after I graduated, I immediately went into the company scene. So that's why I became a company nurse.
Okay, so for the next question, so what was the most memorable experience you had in the hospital? So from your SN days, and let's say what's a memorable nursing experience you had as a company nurse?
Okay. I remember in my third or fourth year, I think it was third year, or I'm not sure. Somewhere in the third or fourth year, I was assigned in NMMC, so which is, I believe, the busiest hospital you could practice in while you're still a student nurse. And I had a patient, of course, NMMC. Most of the patients there in the ward are like ICU level cases, but since the ICU is still full, they're in the ward. So I had a stroke patient there. He was very shy at first because like you need to change their diapers and everything, and then the watcher wasn't there. So he was so grateful for all the help we gave him. And then he told me like he asked for my name and asked when I'm taking the boards. So this was in fourth year pala. And then he said, like, you have a good heart. I will pray that you will become a nurse. So I think that's the most memorable experience I had as a student nurse.
Yes.
Yeah. And then when I started working, I think it was during when COVID was like starting. So most of the private companies closed down for like 2 months or so during the lockdown. So this was like March of 2020 when COVID was like still starting up. And then so we had to close down for a while. And then what I did, I prepared like kits, like health kits for everyone. So it included vitamin C's, other types of supplements just to improve their immune system, immune control, because back then the vaccinations weren't ready yet for the public. So that was the best thing
you could do.
Yeah, I could do as a company nurse to hand out to the employees. And it was memorable for me because some reached out to me saying thank you. And I thought it was just like a small gesture, but it meant a lot to a lot of people.
So next is, what are the ups and downs of being a nurse?
When you say downs, of course, very challenging nursing world. Even if I'm in the company scene, I'm aware of everything that goes on in hospital because of my friends or my former classmates. So there's a lot of things to consider, like your sleep cycle gets really destroyed when you're a nurse, because you don't go to work 8 to 5 like usual people. So that there's a lot of holidays or events that you have to miss, because nurses have to go to hospitals, whether it's Christmas or New Year, or even if it's your birthday, you have to show up, unless of course there's leave and everything. So those are the downs, and also experiencing really difficult patients or watchers who look down on nurses. So that's also a really hard thing, but the ups, I believe, that will compensate for that is there's also really good patients. They make you they're so grateful, and it makes you feel like you're actually doing something good. Like, it's not just work lang, it's like you're actually caring for other people. And aside from that, you learn so much, aside from like the medical related things. You learn so much about responsibility, time management, and like a good work ethic. That's something very important, and I think it gets fast tracked when you're a nurse, especially while you're still a student nurse. Like, these values get instilled on you. So even though like myself, I'm no longer in the hospital scene, but I bring these values with me to work. So it also helps with how I do my job. So like, you can apply it even though you're not in the usual hospital scene. So even if you're not a nurse at all, like, these values, these ups, these what do you call that? These things that you learn in school that are shaped into you while you're studying, like morals and everything. You can bring it even outside the nursing hemisphere. So it really helps a lot, especially as an adult.
So what do you feel about nursing as a profession, its need? So do you feel like that nursing is really a need? Because some people believe that nursing is like a lower job, because they view nursing as like just assisting doctors, or like just not really doing enough for the patients, doing little for the patients. So what's your take on that? As nursing as a profession, its requirements, its needs, basically.
So I think nursing as a whole is a very underestimated profession. Of course, a lot of people look down on nurses because they think assistant lang sa doctor. But actually, it's way more than that. And I think everyone, like the whole world, needs nurses talaga. And then I believe they're like the backbone of the hospital. They double check everything. If a doctor does something wrong, they're the first line in like, what do you call that? The
first line of
defense.
Oh.
First line of defense, to make sure the client is safe. So they'd be like, "Oh doc, you can't prescribe this because it will be contraindicated with this other medication, or the patient is currently pregnant or suffering this." So usually the doctors, they don't really delve into the full care of the patient. So they're not there the whole 8 hours of the shift tending to these patients. So they're mostly there, they check you up and everything. Of course, doctors are also very important. They do so many things as well. So it's a different profession in itself. But the nurses, they're there to take care of you. And I think best of all, they're there to advocate for the patients. So if ever something goes wrong, it's usually them who knows you best, like knows the patient best. So they know if what you prefer, or what are your the usual meds that you take. So like they know you well, they know you better in that sense. So they're the ones who also double check with the other employees in the hospital, like the nursing aides, the watchmen. They're the ones who give instructions. Hey, this patient has tuberculosis, for example. So please make sure droplet precautions. Make sure there's like a mask, like an N95 and everything. So they're technically the backbone of
The hospital.
the hospital. So they're like the unsung heroes. So and that's why it takes a lot to become a nurse. I mean, you as freshman, right? Freshman, you're already doing so much studying already. So you'll be doing that for 4 years. Plus, you'll be taking the board exam, which is very difficult then. So it takes so much to become a nurse. So it means na it's not just like assistant lang. Kasi it's a literal profession that is really comprehensive in all sorts. Like everything involved sa care of a patient. So yeah.
So what advice can you give to us freshmen to feature nurses in general?
Freshmen, I think right now, the most important thing right now for freshmen or for like student nurses, I believe that grit is more important than smarts. So in terms of academics, so usually for student nurses, I believe grit is more important than smarts. So I've experienced this in school. I've seen really smart people. For student nurses, my advice is grit is more important than smarts, because you need to, especially since you're still starting out, it's going to be overwhelming. So many written demonstrations, so many things to study, and it's all new. It's like different from high school. This is like college na talaga, and then nursing pag yun, one of the hardest undergrad
Na you could
studies
take.
na you could take. It's technically almost like a little like med school na gali. So if you put in the effort, little lang every day, you'll see more results than just someone who is plain smart. Kasi I've seen so many of my classmates, or even back then, I'm just an average student. I'm not really smart talaga, but I put in the effort, my friends put in the effort. I saw that from failing grades, they were able to pass, and now they're full-fledged nurses. So that's one of the things I could, I could advise, especially to you freshmen who's still starting out.
Okay, so for our very last question for the interview, so if you were to advocate for one major change in our healthcare system, what would it be?
In our healthcare system, in the country, sa Philippines, nurses are still considered kind of underpaid. Okay, underpaid. They're still considered like a lesser profession pa rin. So, despite the fact that Philippines creates like the best nurses and we supply nurses to the whole world, but we have a shortage of nurses in the Philippines. So, kind of ironic, diba? So, I think what the country's healthcare system could do is maybe implement more laws that can maybe increase the salary grade or provide more benefits and more security for nurses, especially sa hospitals. Kasi I think even if the pay is not as huge as the abroad, but if you give them like decent pay, then they'll stay here. They won't see the need to go abroad anymore. Kasi even here, let's say 30,000 in the private hospitals right now, they get paid like 30K. But that's like minus the benefits and everything. They take home like 23, 25. So if you have a family and everything, it's really hard, especially for nurses, and then schooling is really expensive. So the return on investment on that is pretty low, especially if you're working here. So usually the fastest thing people do is go abroad. But if it's more decent and there's more security, like job security and more benefits for the nurses. So I think that's a legislative thing that should happen talaga in the government. Like that should be a law na. Kasi I think that way they can secure the nurses here kasi there's no more nurses left because they're all going abroad. So I think that's one thing I would advocate talaga because I think it's sayang. It's sayang especially to our country na
We produce so many. And
we produce the best nurses
best.
actually. Like everybody loves Filipino nurses abroad. But here, we're very appreciated abroad. Everyone will pay a lot just to get us. But here, our own country cannot even do that or cannot even afford to do that. So I think that's a huge hurdle. But I think someday we'll be able to go through that problem.
Okay, so that was our last questions. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview.
Thank you as
And
well.
that is the end of the interview.